Well, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. It is a fresh new year. We're just getting started with our continuation, actually, of our discussion around the human aspects of change management and team optimization. I hope that everyone has had a wonderful new year and a wonderful holiday, and that you're ready to jump in to whatever 2020 has in store for you. I've heard so many great things about 2020, 2020 vision, the year of focus, the year of the rat. It will be a fantastic, wonderful year for everybody. I do hope that you have some exciting goals set out for yourself and some wonderful objectives for your team, the things that you're focused on professionally, personally, and that everyone's in good health. My name's Diana Willis, and I'm excited for us to take on the next component of change management. As you know, this is one in a series. We're actually beginning to come to the wrap up of this particular series in our discussion around the human aspects of change management. And today, let's go ahead and just take a quick look at how everything is kind of flowed, what we're thinking about here for today. In this particular session, we've moved from thinking big picture, what is change? What is change management? How do we go about as leaders in our organization, whether it's a program leader or an operational leader in the organization? All of us have responsibility for leading teams, influencing teams, and helping to guide teams through change, through evolution. And from that perspective, in this series, we've been looking at the various aspects of change, how to prepare for change effectively, how to plan for change. In our last session, we talked about having plan A, plan B, plan C, and all the way through plan Z, if you will, really anticipating that the best laid plans are always nuances and surprises that come along the way. So how do we plan for those things? In prior sessions, we also looked at the nature of change and the actual flow that people go through, or the stages that people go through, individuals go through, as well as organizations go through with respect to change, becoming aware of new expectations, and of course then also from that standpoint, what are the different phases that people will go through naturally, and thus organizations will go through. And how we as change management professionals, whether we're focused around business processes, process optimization, introducing new methodologies of doing work, or we're in a functional area, human resources, for example, all of us affect change and are affected by change. And so this has been a fascinating conversation that we've been having over the course of these last 8 or 9 sessions. And all of these sessions, of course, if you haven't had a chance to join us for the prior sessions, all of these are part of our certification course and can also be accessed. You can look at the prior sessions for the next month or so. They will be available for anyone to review on our YouTube channel. Today, we are coming to the capstone around change management and our curriculum. This capstone discussion or topic is around the individual and speaking to the individual. Stepping back, when we think about change, we think about how we lead organizations forward through change. We have to remember that there are certainly some aspects that are very programmatic, right? There are some elements that are easy to define. What does the future look like? Where are we today? What is our plan for closing that gap, for example? And those are much easier to put on a piece of paper, right? To really just jot down, map out a project plan almost, if you will, from that standpoint. But now what we're really finding is that in order for change to be stellar, to really be impactful, to accelerate, and dare I say, actually be fun to much degree, we need to be thinking about the individual, and this is where speaking to the individual becomes most critical and truly the differentiator for organizations that are able to effectively make a change. So from this session, what we're going to focus on is that the concept is that change truly is an individual experience. It really is an individual, person by person experience. To lead a team through change, we need to be looking at this aspect, that it's truly the individual. And so the question then for us becomes, as change management professionals, the question does become, how does our role shift? Traditionally, our role, again, as a change management professional, our role was looked at quite pragmatically, was actually looked at in a very quantitative way. And so here, because when we adopt the notion that change truly is an individual experience, we do need to think about the fact that we are dealing with human nature. And so from that standpoint, let's just jump in a little bit. I want to share a few models with you, a few concepts with you that I'm hoping you'll be able to take away. So from this standpoint, we are fundamentally, as a change management professional, we are going from a mindset that is around organization and program management. We are shifting that and to now bring in the more nuanced nature of individual change management, working truly at the individual level, personally working with the individuals at that level to help them navigate through and find their new role, their new responsibility, their new why in the context of whatever the organization changes that you're going through, whether it's, again, new processes, new workflows, new departments, reorganizations, new business shifts, maybe moving from one product focus to another product focus. Any of those contexts, it's important that we as change management professionals are thinking about, how do we help the individual discover their new place, their new contribution, the new why for them. Okay, so we're going to dig into a few elements here to reinforce this now. So first, this concept again that change is both an organization journey as well as a very personal one, and why that is so. And it's actually a very straightforward answer, but it's one that we always have to keep bringing ourselves back to, because it is easy to get distracted when we're going through change or when we're leading a change initiative. We need to always be bringing ourselves back to this one key that I'll be sharing with you. The next element is around honesty and explicit communication and the importance of those, and how you can balance that. So I've got a really exciting model to share with you, one that I came across a couple of years ago and has been transformative for me and for the work that I do with our clients and even within our own organization. And then lastly, mastering the soft side of change management. So we'll bring it all to a close, a nice caption point for us. All right. So first of all, as I was saying, change is an organization journey. We know that. We've been exploring that over the course of the last few sessions. And it is absolutely the case that it is also a very personal one. Every individual in the organization is going through change to one degree or another, and they will be at different stages of change. So you may reflect back a few sessions ago, we went through the Kubler-Ross model of change, we went through a few other models of change, and how we can assess where an organization is as well as where individuals are on that change curve or on those change curves. So always keeping in front of us that it's a very personal journey that is taking place. So with that, we can remind ourselves of this very important fact by simply recalling that an organization is simply a collection of individuals. Again, it's easy. We can look at a large brand, for example, a Coca-Cola, for example, or we could look at a small brand, for example, a SoftBank Robotics, or we can look at a nonprofit organization, or we can look at a retail organization, and it's easy to get lost in the brand, right? The largeness that seems to exist. However, As a change management professional, part of our role is to always bring ourselves back to the understanding that change is individual. Organizations are simply collections of individuals. With that in mind, what we know is that as we're bringing these individuals together and we're bringing the organization through change, our goal is to create alignment. That is the number one goal for you as a change management professional, is to create alignment. Now, we have a variety of tools to do that, and we've gone through them in our prior sessions. I'll recap them in a moment. With all of those tools, the intention behind every single one of those, whether it's creating a vision, it's getting clarity around what the incentive, the why is, it's bringing forward and documenting and communicating a very clear action plan. Whether it's any one of those elements or others, our primary goal is about creating alignment. And how do we do that? When we think about the organization as a collection of individuals, it is a person by person by person conversation. And that sometimes takes place in a one-to-many setting, when you may be presenting information to a large organization, to a large group of individuals, or to a department of individuals. It also takes place in the very individual person-to-person conversations that you're having. So that is our goal, is to create alignment. Anchor that one down, okay? Now, the next piece is understanding the individual nature of change, okay? So the individual nature of change, in order to really get here, we need to think about communication. Effective change, when you do this phenomenally well, effective change is going to be focused around honest and explicit communication. And that, even for many of us as change management professionals, for many of us, that is even a challenge, is learning how to communicate honestly and explicitly, and in a way that is highly influential and is cognizant and sensitive to the needs of the individuals that we're working with. So I wanted to share this model with you that I'm super excited about. It has really helped to transform my own communication as well, and my effectiveness in my profession. And this model is a model around radical candor. Radical candor is the kind of communication that we are going after. This is where you will be able to effectively bring individuals through a change process, a change experience, and they will be engaged with it and be part of that change with you. So what this represents, and I encourage you to dive deeper into this one, you can Google around radical candor, an excellent book that's available in this space. What we're going after here is the kind of communication that takes place. So looking at this illustration, you can see there are effectively two axes of relatedness. The first axis, the vertical axis, has to do with the degree or depth to which you individually care. You care personally about the context and about the individual that you're working with. At the bottom of this particular axis, there's not much care, and we can inadvertently say things or do things, or even intentionally say or do things that will impact negatively, will hurt the individual perhaps. Now, at the high end, we want to be thinking about how do we show up in a way that we truly care about the individual and the impact that they can have in the organization. We care about how they fit into the context and how we partner together. We truly care about that relationship. On the horizontal axis, this has to do with the directness of communication. So to the left, we have very indirect communication. We have nuanced communication, manipulative communication. To the right, we are able to speak explicitly. We are able to be honest, we care personally, and we speak explicitly, directly. So we're able to challenge directly as well, with deep respect for the individual. And it's in that context that what you're able to do as a change management leader is to reflect that you care personally and you challenge directly. We're moving forward. Powerful, powerful communications. And this is a key for how you can affect change at the individual level and hence the organizational level. So the third and final piece that I want to leave you with for today is around mastering the soft side of change management. And it truly does not need to be a mystery. I think quite often when we think about change and change management, many individuals will move away from it or avoid the conversations in this space. From here, what we want to be thinking about is kind of the I always want to call it like the juiciness, if you will. It is such a beautiful element of leadership when we can connect at the individual level, recognizing individuals coming together create an organization. In that, where we bring radical candor, candorous communication that is honest and that is explicit, that is respectful and direct. With that, we really are demonstrating that there is no mystery to managing the soft side of change. In fact, when we think about the skills that all of us need as excellent change management professionals, when we're getting people engaged in our new programs around performance management, around process management, our new programs, our new alignment around new products or revisions of products, when we're getting people excited about big goals. And I think this is so powerful as we're stepping into 2020. In this context, when we get people excited about these big goals that we're going after, these really are the skills that we need to have now as change management professionals. This is how our role shifts. So when we look across each one of these 6 elements and assess yourself to each one of these 6, I invite you to go back and to listen to our prior sessions and now bring each of those skill components forward for yourself. Assess, how is your strategic thinking? How clear are you thinking around where the organization needs to go? If you're focused around process optimization, for example, what are the things that you're doing to paint a compelling vision in the organization? If you're focused around human resources, what are the things that you're doing to really be able to paint the picture, to hold that new way of being in the organization, to move the organization forward through whatever challenges it may be going through? How are you doing in persuasion and influence and being able to work at all levels of the organization, encouraging others to help align to the vision and being able to demonstrate the advantages of that new environment, that new product set, that new process orientation? What are the things that you're doing and how persuasive and influential are you? As you go back and you look at the prior sessions, all part of this certification, my hope for you is that you'll be able to bring forward many of the tools and tips that we've talked about over the course of the last few weeks and start applying these very effectively as a change management professional for your team. So at the individual level, remember, it happens. Your role as a change management professional is to lead, to assess where things are at, to redirect, and to encourage. All of that has to do with creating alignment. And each one of these elements, as we've talked about, is we align our vision around the culture that you want, productivity that you want, the performance results, the profit that you're looking for as a business. All of those components help define your culture. And you have the ability to work through each one of these components here to result in the serious change that you're going after as an organization. So what I'd like to do is, we've had a couple of questions that have just come in, and I want to answer 1 or 2 of these here so we can really bring this home for you. Tony is asking a question about his organization. Let's see here. His organization has introduced a new product, and they've got some team members who are working on the old product. What can they do? Okay, great Great, Tony. So first of all, one of the things that'll be really important is to acknowledge the work that has been done on the prior product. Recognize the effort that went into that. In effect, those individuals then, what we want them to understand is that that effort is valued and it was valued. And in acknowledging that, then it starts to bring them forward to think about what's next. And that will help begin to shift their mindset and shift their focus onto the new product set as well. And I would imagine that you probably have some transition pieces in there as well, both from a product roadmap standpoint and a business strategy. At the individual level, where we're talking right now, acknowledgement is really important. Acknowledgement of that time and that effort that's been put in. That actually applies in all cases. If you're thinking about changing business processes, for example, you're introducing new changes to processes, one of the things that you want to do again is acknowledge the old process worked for the context that it was in. And that context has changed. Now we have a new process or an adjustment to the process that we're working on. Acknowledgement goes a really long way. Thanks for asking that question, Tony. Appreciate it. All right. So our next session is going to be a complete wrap-up and a review of all of the pieces that we've covered. It will really bring together all of the key aspects that we've been talking about, okay? Those elements that are key to helping to solidify what successful change management really looks like, okay? And we're going to go through those key aspects of success. What does success look like? All right. We've been talking about change management, but how do you know ultimately you've been successful with changing and the management of change in your organization? And also, how do you know if you're on the right path or you're about to fail? Some early indicators that you can look at there as well. Okay. So this is going to be our wrap-up and review session in next week. I look forward to connecting with everyone then. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free, send me an email. You can send me an email at info@pendolinogroup.com or directly at diana@pendolinogroup.com. And also feel free, if you want to schedule a few minutes together just to talk through your specific scenarios, always happy to do that. You can reach out to me, schedule on my calendar, go back, take a look at our prior sessions on our YouTube channel, and I look forward to connecting next week. Have a fabulous welcome into the new year.